don't know why it's taking a little longer than usual. So,
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, once you have it open, we're gonna start a new part and go into Sketch, and just let me know when you're ready to get started.
so we're making a new part. Yeah.
Yep, doing a part first. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me whenever you have the part open, just let me know. You're all set.
Yeah, it's loading in. It's just, I don't know why it's taking longer to load today for like everything.
Gotcha.
So
It happens sometimes.
I'm getting the part open.
Awesome.
All right. I think we're good.
Cool. And then we're just gonna start a new sketch. Um, whatever plane you really want to do, it's fine with me. And did we ever go over? We've never used the polygon thing yet, right? In Sketch.
The polygon thing, I don't think so.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll get to learn a new tool for sketching. Um, once you have a new sketch, let's just click on the polygon feature. It's in like our little group of options for drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just gonna make a polygon. So you start by clicking your origin as your center point, and then you can kind of drag out. And I want this to be hex shaft like we use in robotics, but you'll see that one of the parameters is number of sides. So I can make this 5 instead and make it pentagon instead. But I'm going to stick this 6 with the hexagon. Just wanted to show you that you can actually just change the number of sides if you'd like. And I'm going to check. Um, after that, we're going to add some dimensions. So you have your hexagon up.
Yep.
Perfect. Do you know what the size of the hex shaft we use for the robot?
Oh no, I don't know.
You don't know? You want to make
Nope. Um, I don't like I just don't have a clue. Like not even at all.
no clue? All right. I could be wrong. If I am, it'll be embarrassing, but I'm pretty sure it is half-inch diameter.
Does wait like doesn't like John like judge you for like messing up?
Oh, well, I mean, if he's watching this recording and I got this wrong, oh yeah, I'll probably get lit up. No, I don't know if he watches the recordings, but I know I put up one of the challenges was like the diagram for it, like the dimensioning was technically incorrect. I didn't do the dimensioning, so I didn't care. I was like, whatever, it gets the point across.
It was 0.5.
Yeah, half-inch diameter. And you can either dimension the circle here, or you could dimension from this top side to this bottom side.
Oh, I just did the top and the bottom.
Perfect. It does the
Oh,
exact
it's
same
fine.
thing, because as you can see, the circle is touching them. So
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't actually matter. Um, and now all we need to do is the only reason why it's still blue is because we could still spin it around. So to fix that, let's just say we're going to make this point and the origin point. We'll make those two vertical, and now it's locked in place because we can't rotate it anymore.
The top point and the bottom.
The top point and the origin point, we're going to make those two horizontal with each other. Although you actually could technically pick the top and the bottom point as well if you'd like. Yeah. This will basically just kind of lock it in
Hmm.
place. All right. So now we're going to do an extrusion for it. Um, I don't know. What do you think is like a reasonable length of hex shaft we might use? Maybe like a foot to 2 feet?
A foot.
A foot.
Yeah. Let's go with a foot.
Foot. All right, 12 inches. Let's do it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think 0.5 was correct. That looks like a piece of hex shaft we would use.
Hold
Cool.
on, I gotta do the boss extrude thing. I just
Yeah,
forgot.
absolutely.
Hold on. Oh, oh my God.
Are you all ready?
Yeah, oh, give me a second.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I'm good.
Cool. All right, so as you know, a lot of times when we're doing hex shaft, like sometimes we'll like drill and tap holes into the sides to like put in screws,
Yeah.
stuff like that to like, kind of lock it on with a washer. So
Uh-huh.
I don't plan on showing it this class. There is actually a way to do tapped holes, but for now we're just going to say maybe we drill the hole into both of the sides. So we'll do that, right?
Okay.
So we'll do is we'll pick a side and we'll start a sketch on it.
Do
And
you
then
click the side first and then click sketch? Or do you
yeah,
click sketch and then
I think
okay.
you can do it either way. I usually click the face first though and then sketch, but I think it actually does just work either way.
Okay.
All right. Now, do you know what size hole you're supposed to drill if you want to tap with a 1/4-20 tap bit? This is a really mean question. I don't expect you to actually know this. If you do, it'd be really cool though. Do you know?
Okay, wait, say it one more time, maybe I'll get
All
it.
right. So you know how like if I'm drilling a
If I
hole,
think hard enough.
like if I drill a hole to tap a 1/4-20 screw, it would be like just too small because then we like tap it and cut the threads, right?
Um,
You know,
yeah.
well, we drill and tap
Yeah.
holes. Sometimes we'll like drill a hole and then we'll tap it to make threads.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't, you don't, well, no, do you know what I'm talking about or no? If not, I can explain it a bit
Not
more.
really.
You know,
Wait, can you explain it actually?
sure. So like let's say I wanted to like, let's say I wanted to put a screw into like one of these faces of the shaft just to like maybe like put a washer on it or something, right? To hold stuff on.
Yeah. Right.
So the first step is I would need to drill a hole for it. Like I would just drill a hole. After that, you know how we have
Mm-hmm.
like, the little tap bits? They have like little threads on the outside and you twist them into the hole to like cut threads. Did you ever get to do that or no?
No, I don't know what that is, if I'm being so honest.
Oh, okay. You might just not have been around when we were showing people that. It's okay. Don't worry about it. But something we do. Um,
Okay.
the answer to this little quiz question for anyone who might be watching online is normally when your tap drill size, I guess you can call it, is going to be 0.201 inches. So if you want to make that circle 0.201 or just 0.2, whatever you'd like. Um, that was meant to just be a little quiz question. I was curious if you'd know, but it's all right. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so just make that circle and then we'll make that a cut. Nah, yeah. How deep do you want the cut to be? We don't want it to go all the way through because this is meant to just be for like a smaller bolt. What do you think?
Oh, hold on. I'm still making the circle, so
Oh, sure. All right. Sorry for rushing you. Yeah, just let me know
no,
when
it's
you.
okay. You did it 0.2?
Yep, 0.2. I put 0.201 because that's like the exact size, but 0.2 will work just fine.
Okay.
Um, actually, I'll just change mine to 0.2. That's a nice round number. We'll do that. John gets angry at me, he can get angry. How deep do you think this hole should be? Because we want to have like one on each side, and this should be like big enough for like, I don't know, like a small bolt. Like how deep do you think would be reasonable?
Oh boy.
Like we don't want to go all the way through, obviously.
I don't know how long the thing is. Wait, it's 12 inches. My
We have
bad.
a 12-inch beam.
Um,
We want to have like a small hole on this side, small hole on this side. Like deep enough where we can get like a screw in there, but we don't want it like going super deep. Because if we're drilling into the
like
material, that's making it weaker.
I don't know, like a half an inch?
Half an inch, sure. Let's see how that looks, and we can kind of determine if we like it. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Oh
Sure, we'll do
no. Oh
0.5.
wait, no, wait, I meant an inch. I meant an inch. I meant
An
an
inch?
inch. Yes, 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 yes.
I think an inch is definitely good. Yeah, because that's
Yeah,
decent
my
distance.
bad.
Although honestly,
I meant to say an inch.
I think a half an inch could work too. I think it really depends on like,
It depends on what it is, yeah.
yeah, it depends on what you're trying to do. But I think half an inch to an inch, somewhere in that range, I think it's probably good. Yeah, cool. All right, so we'll do an inch on that side. Nice. Now, we also want to have a hole on the other side. I'm going to show you a quick trick where we can actually reuse this hole and put it on the other side. I showed you guys how to do the mirroring, right?
The mirroring?
Yeah.
I think you did. I think so.
All right. Do you want to copy it that way or do you want to learn a new way? It's up to you. We can either practice the mirroring
Um,
or
we could I actually doesn't it doesn't make any it doesn't I don't know, it doesn't matter to me.
doesn't matter to you. All right, let's do the
Nope.
new way because if we wanted to redo the mirror, you could always, I guess, just check the last video or whatever. But I think you can
Right.
always check your parts. Those are good notes. So one thing we can do is if we do this little drop down on the cut we just made, we could see our sketch still, right? Which is our little circle here, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to select that sketch, right? We're going to have it highlighted on there. And we're going to click
Yeah.
extruded cut again. Okay.
Cut again.
We're going to do extruded cut again. And you'll see,
Okay.
it's not crazy. Don't worry. And once you do that, if you notice there's a from option up here, right? And it defaults as from the sketch plane, which basically just means this is our sketch plane. This is where we're drawing. So it starts there. But we
Right.
don't have to have it start there. If we select surface slash place slash plane, we can select a different spot for it to start. So I can have it start on this side over here instead, right? And look at that. Now, if I just flip my direction here, now it is a hole on the other side going into the rod. Did you follow
Wait,
that?
hold on.
I can do that again.
Yeah, I did follow. I forgot to flip how to flip to the right. Oh, never mind. Wait.
Just click those
I
little
got it.
arrows.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got that.
that's another thing you could do if you're like, I don't really want to make a new sketch, but I also don't want to set up like any reference geometry. That's a cool little
Yeah.
way you can do it.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, you can like reuse your sketches if that makes sense, which is it can actually be kind of useful sometimes. All right. And that's honestly all I wanted to do for our part. So I'm just going to save this. Class notes. That would be, this is lesson 8. We're on lesson 8 already. This is crazy. I think by contract, I only have 8 more or 2 more lessons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I might. So my plan right now is this lesson will do this guy in the drawing.
Yeah.
Then the next lesson I'd like to do how to do basic like drawings as far as like assemblies, like how to make a drawing to show someone how to put something together.
Uh-huh.
And we can use the assembly that we did last class for that. And then
Mm-hmm.
for the last one, I'll either talk to John about if he wants to do a drawing session, either that, or I might,
Okay.
or if he wants to do that a separate time as his own thing, we might just do almost like a more in-depth dive on some parts. Because there's a few more features I haven't taught you guys about, like Hole Wizard, which is really cool, or like Swept Boss and Base. So I'll see. The last one's kind of up in the air as far as whether John's teaching it or maybe I'll do like a session on some like really cool drawing tricks that I haven't really shown yet. We'll see. Not sure yet. But yeah, we're just gonna save this part and then we're gonna make a new part. Or not a new part. We're gonna make, if you go up to this little paper icon, it says make drawing from part slash assembly.
Wait, where?
Okay. So if we
Oh,
go,
the paper up there, my bad.
there's a little paper that's folded. If you click the drop down, there's an option to make drawing from part and assembly. Well, we want to make a drawing from this part, so let's click on that. And let's do a B-sized drawing paper this time. So we'll do B ANSI landscape.
Okay.
Hit OK. And as you can see, because we told it that we wanted to start with our part on the right side, it has different views that we can drag onto our drawing sheet. I'm going to start with the front view of it. Drop that down. All right. And then I'm only going to do, or yeah, let's also do, hold on. I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to redo this. Just for simplicity's sake. So what we can do is we could start with the front one, right? And now what we could do is
Yeah, my thing on the side it like went away.
it went away.
I
Okay,
I tried to bring it to the thing, like click on it, and then it like I don't know, it vanished.
totally fine. All right, so let's do it the normal way then. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do drawing. Oh, I'm sorry. Because you don't have the view layout tab, right?
Nope.
Hold on. I wanna just do a quick look into if I know how to. Yeah, I am unfortunately not immediately sure on how to do that, but the other way we can do it is we can go to Insert, Drawing View, Model, and do it that way. Then we'll click on the part we want, which is in our case the hex shaft. I'll do a front view, and then if I just don't exit out yet, don't hit escape, I can drag to the right to make a side view, and I'll drag diagonally to kind of make an isometric view. And then I'll hit escape to kind of escape out of it. Let me know once you have that all set.
All right, I'm good.
Okay, and you can see right now it's scaling at 1 to 5. I want to see how it looks if I scale it to 1 to 1. So down in this bottom right area, I'm going to click on it and change it from 1 to 5 to 1 to 1. As you can see, it's
Where?
right down here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but kind of bottom right area. You'll see something where it's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it'll kind of give you like a ratio.
Wow.
So I changed it to 1 to 1. But as you can see, I mean, it does kind of work. And one thing to kind of note from my experience, this isometric view, it's usually okay if you shrink that down a little bit compared to the other two. So like these, you want to have the same scale. Like all of your normal views, you want to have be the same scale. Like if this is 1 to 1, this should also be 1 to 1, and any other view from it should also be 1 to 1. The only exception is your isometric views. Those you can set to something different. So I'm going to click on it, and there's an option for scale. I'm going to choose use custom scale. And instead of 1 to 1, I might make it like 1 to 2, and then kind of just put it up in my corner over here. Because the reason why you can do that is your isometric, it isn't really there for any dimensions or anything like that. It's really only there just as like clarification, I guess. Just so you can kind of
So
see.
you can like see the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're able to shrink it down if we want, which I'm gonna do. So let's do some stuff. So first off, here's a good example of when nodes can be useful. So we haven't really discussed this box area down here. Now, a lot of companies I've worked at will have their own format for this box. So I don't really use this one much. But essentially what this is useful for is just giving some more information. So you see a lot of stuff here like drawn, checked, engineering approval, manufacturing approval, quality assurance. These won't really apply to us. This is if you're like working at a company, you need a bunch of approvals. Maybe we have someone check it before it gets sent to getting machined. Like maybe John might check it. But in general, we probably won't use these boxes too much. It might be nice to put your name here. Materials, kind of important. We mostly work with aluminum, right? But it can be important, especially if you want something that's not aluminum, just to let people know, hey, here's what material I want. I don't really plan on talking about tolerances, I'll be honest. I think it's a little bit beyond what we'll really need to do in robotics. Because the thing is that unless John's making the part, I don't think we can really expect super tight tolerances, just because it can be kind of difficult, especially with the equipment we have. So I'm probably not going to cover tolerances. I'll let John know about that, so that way when he's doing his drawing thing, if he wants to teach you guys, he can. But I don't think it's super relevant to a lot of the work we do on the team. I think it's a useful skill, but I'm not very good at it, to be completely honest, tolerancing it. Like, I know the basics, but between me not being an expert in it, and I'm not sure if you guys would really need to use it for robotics at least, probably not going to cover it, but it is a useful thing. So here's kind of a decent example of when you might want to use notes. So if I go over to annotation, I could do like a note, maybe pointing to here, like my piece. And I might just say like, hey, this is 1/4 in, or I'm sorry, 1/2. And then inch is 2 apostrophes, hex shaft. I might just say that because the thing is like in our shop, if I wanted someone to make this part, I wouldn't be expecting them to make the hex shaft, right? Like I wouldn't be like, oh, take this, cylindrical rod and turn it into hex shafts. No, we're probably starting with hex shafts. So maybe just adding a quick note saying, hey, look, we're using 1/2 inch hex shaft. I might say aluminum here. Normally you would put that in the materials section, but I'll just leave it as 1/2 inch hex shaft, right? Because that's what it is. Does that make sense? Because I don't want them to actually machine the hex shaft. That would be really, really,
Right.
and it would just be really hard, right?
Right.
I wouldn't feel confident making hex shaft myself. So, but I'm also not very good at machining. But if we did want them to make the hex shaft, maybe, right? Let's throw in some dimensions they might want to use. I know if I were to do it, I know one thing that could be useful is the distance from like here to the center, kind of like giving them almost like the quote unquote radius, because that will kind of give people an idea of like how far down, each of these flats are from how far these flats are from the center, which could be useful for machining it. The other thing that might be useful is knowing the distance from the center to one of the edges. Oh, but it's not letting me dimension that. Hold on. I'm just doing it in a bad order. Click that. Click this. There we go. This might also be a useful dimension. Because in my head, like if someone asked me to make a hex shaft by hand, I would probably turn down a rod to, the size of these outer edges. And then I would just mill down flats in each side. That would be this deep. That's how I'd make it. I don't know. Might not be the best way to make it, but this is how I would dimension the hex shaft. Does that make any sense? I'm sorry.
No, it makes sense.
Okay. Another thing you might see is, and these I'm pretty sure are the only dimensions you would actually need to make this hex shaft. I could be wrong, but geometry wise, these should be the only two you really need. But one other thing you might see people do is they might just say like, hey, this face here is this. Notation you might see is if I ever have like a dimension and it's the same dimension a bunch of times, like each of these faces are going to be the same size, right? Because this is like,
Right.
so what I might do is I might say that dimension and then do times 6. And that way the person making this knows, okay, all 6 of these sides are going to be the same size. That might be something you see as well. That makes sense. Or I know like maybe if you're having someone drill like 5 holes for you, right? I mean, you'd want to tell them where each hole is, obviously, but you might not want to dimension each hole to be, say, 0.25 inches every single time. So instead, you might just give the diameter of one of the holes and say 0.25 times 5. Let them know, hey, all 5 of these holes are 0.25 inches. If that makes sense. I think holes would actually be a really good example for drawing this. So I probably should try to fit an example for that in at some point. I'll see if I can fit that in next class because I think that would actually be really useful. So that looks pretty good, right? As far as the actual hex thing. Another dimension I could add is I could add the dimension of our circle or of our hole, like add the diameter of it. So I might do that, kind of put it at a bit of an angle like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm okay with that. So
And that's all you really need, right? Oh, I guess you have to do the size of the
how long the rod is, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's why we have this side view. That's perfect. Cool, 12 inches. What else do we need? There's one more dimension we need. Can you tell me it?
The size of it, like just like I don't know, the length of it. Not like the length like the 12 inches, like the other way. Do you know what I'm saying? I forgot like
Like the
length
height?
and width. I forgot.
The height?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
We kind of already gave them that with these dimensions of our hexagon. The hexagon is fully done. The hex shaft is 100% done. I'll give you that hint. We're done with the hex shaft. The hex shaft is good. What do you think is left?
I don't really know.
Well, if I told you, hey, here's a hex shaft, I want you to drill a hole that's 0.2 inches in diameter, would you have any questions for me?
Oh, you don't have the thing for that.
I never told you how
Okay.
deep the hole is, right? That's kind of important, right?
Yeah.
Now, and here's,
Yo,
and I'll give you a hint.
forgot about that.
I'm going to show you the wrong way to do this because I did it this way once and it was not a good idea. One time, what I did was remember how I said you should never dimension to hidden lines?
Yeah.
This is an example of where it's really tempting because look, what I could do is I can go from here to the bottom of my hole and I could say, boom, look at my holes are an inch deep, right?
Yeah.
That's so easy.
Makes sense.
You can't do it that way. You're not supposed to ever dimension to hidden lines. So I'm going to show you the way
Wait,
you should do this.
where do you make the hidden lines?
Uh, if you click on the view, there's going
Yeah.
to be display style, and you can click one to the left. It's hidden lines visible. You kind of start in the center and click one to the left. And it's going to add hidden lines. And if you go another one to the left, it'll
Okay.
hidden line solid. Um,
The view, then hidden line. Okay, I got it. I got it.
yep. So, but we don't want to do that. All right. Don't dimension
All
to hidden
right.
lines. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to delete this whole view, this second one here. This one's fine. This one's not. So I'm going to delete this one because we need to be able to tell them how deep the hole is. So here's a really, really useful option. So for me, I would go to view layout section view, but we're going to do insert drawing view and then go to section view. Super, super useful tool. All right.
Insert drawing view and then
Section view.
section view.
Yeah. Now, the way section view works is it basically gives you the view of the object as if you like cut it in half. It almost gives you like a cross section view, if that makes sense.
Wait, I don't know where that is. You said insert and then it
Yep.
should be there, right?
Insert, oh, sorry, insert drawing view and then section view.
Okay.
You have to go to drawing view first. So the way section view works is it's a little hard to visualize at first, but it's basically as if I cut this object in half. What we're defining right now is the line that we're going to cut it in half with, and then it's going to show us like our cross-section view, if that makes sense.
So you're putting this thing in the middle?
Yep, right in the middle. We want to cut it right in half. And if I hit check,
Okay.
it's going to give us our section view.
Well, okay.
Did that work for you?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, this whole thing's a little cramped. So what I might do is I kind of want to rearrange this a little bit just to make it a little less cramped, but yeah, whatever. We'll just leave it as is. But
And now you can dimension this?
because now look, it's not a hidden line anymore. We're actually seeing the real feature. Basically, this grayed out area is like solid area. So this is where we have material. And then the white
Right.
area is where there's a hole, which is what we were expecting. We expected like a gap here because we wanted to drill that hole an inch deep. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
section view does. So basically, you can almost imagine it cut it in half along this line and then showed us the cross section, which is here, right? And what you can actually see
Right.
is if I were to, I don't think I'm going to be able to shift this to the left at all. I don't know if I can shift it anymore, but yeah, and if I had moved it to the side a little bit, it would show me something slightly different. But so let's do our dimensioning now, right? So we can give us our length. It's 12 inches. Hold on, let me move this section. I think it's supposed to technically be on the bottom. So I'll do my dimensioning on the top. And then we can add our 1-inch thing here. And what I might actually do is I might say 1 inch times 2 because both of them are an inch deep.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to do that, the times two thing?
You could also dimension each one by themselves. Kind of up to you.
Okay.
Actually, let's do the dimension each by themselves because I don't actually know if you're able to do times 2 for lengths. But yeah, and a lot of times, remember how I mentioned like the datum measuring, where you should measure everything kind of from a single point?
Yeah.
I don't know if John will want you to do that, but That's usually the standard way. So even though it would make more sense to just dimension that to 1 inch, a lot of times people want you to go from this side to here anyways, but we'll leave it at 1 inch on that side because I think that's probably easier for our purposes. I'm just, for drawing, I'm more just here to try to teach you guys the different tools we have. I can't promise I'm going to do all my drawings the right way. So,
That's okay.
yeah. And just one other thing that can be kind of useful. There's not really a good, you know what I might do? I might do this. I'll probably cover this other tool in the next drawing class. I might honestly just, I kind of just wanted to show section view, honestly, because it's super useful. Because remember, I said you can't dimension to hidden lines. So whenever you're like kind of tempted to, use a section view.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really useful tool. I know, like when I worked at my internship, I swear it felt like almost every drawing I did use section view because I had so many like shafts with like holes drilled in them or weird stuff like that. So it's super useful. One other thing, I'll just kind of touch on it now, but there's also a cool thing called, if we go to drawing view, there's another thing called detail view, which I've used a bit. So if we go there, what detail view does is it's going to let you draw a circle somewhere. I'm sorry, here, I'm going to let you catch up. So if you go to insert, drawing view, and then go to detail.
Yep.
It'll give you the option to basically draw a little circle. So let's say I drew a circle on this little corner here. I'll do a tiny little circle like that, right? What it basically lets me do is, oh boy. Now you can kind of see how our circle, right? It's basically just looking at this part of our hexagon, right? So like maybe there was really something really special about that corner, right? What we
Yeah.
can do is we can do a detail view, which lets us kind of circle that there, label it as B, and then make a detail B. And we can make that basically kind of scale up. So we can even make that like 5:1. So now it's like a zoomed in version of that piece, you know? So I'll kind of cover this more in detail next week, but I just kind of wanted to show it. So I'm going to delete this for now because it makes it kind of cluttered and I don't really like it very much. But yeah, it's also a pretty useful tool. Kind of want to just move stuff around until it looks good because this looks kind of ugly right now, especially with where the section view is. I'm having a hard time actually adjusting the. What you can normally do is you can basically grab these arrows and move them up and down. But for some reason, I'm just having a hard time like selecting it to allow me to do that. Not entirely sure why, but oh well. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to introduce section view and kind of give you an example of when you might use a drawing. So, you know, if you wanted some holes drilled in this hex shaft, but you weren't able to do it yourself or you're busy with something else, this is kind of how I draw that. Although in reality, we probably wouldn't need to provide all these hex dimensions here, right? I just kind of showed you them to show you them. Realistically, all you'd probably need is just diameter of the hole. Label this as a 1/2 inch hex shaft. Maybe give them like 1 dimension or 2 just so they can kind of confirm that it's a hex shaft of the right size. And then basically give them the information of how long you want it and how deep your hole should be. Does that make sense? So
Yep.
we kind of overdid this one, but I just wanted to show you a couple things like the ×6 thing. I'll probably try to cover that next class. But yeah, that's all I had. So I'm going to save that.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all I had. So stop the share. Did you have any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. All right, I'll stop recording as well then. All right, adios.
All right. Thank you.